All right, welcome everybody to our Passion Fire Empire Team Epic Journey team call. Today is Thursday, the third Thursday of the month. It's May 17th, and we are going to talk continuously about a topic that we've been talking about for the past few calls, which is inviting. And we're staying on this topic because it is the biggest business builder, but it's also the biggest thing that holds most people back. So it's really important to constantly renew your thoughts about it and understand different ways to go about it, and just keep it fresh on your mind that it's okay for it to be a constant struggle, because even as a veteran coach, it's always a learning process. There's always a new angle. There's always a new way to walk yourself through the process of inviting. And it's not something that you can build your business without. So we're all on this call because we're business builders, or else you probably wouldn't be on the call. And we need to build a business. This is really about, the foundation of this business is about helping yourself, letting that overflow to help other people. But in order to do that, it's very specific, simple steps that we have to take. And we need to hear it over and over and over again. And I know that your coaches also go over this a lot. I know Stacy talks about it a lot. I know Michelle talks about it a lot. And there's a reason, because it's important. And if you listen to the National Wake Up Call or any of the trainings that Beachbody puts out there for us, this is always a topic, and there's a reason for that. So we're going to talk about it tonight. I came across a training about a 4-step process that really, really, I believe is going to help our team a lot with this whole inviting. So as Stacy has always talked about, it is about the mindset. It's about your approach, your posture. It's about how you feel about the business. But there is a way for you to come to your invites every day and sit down wherever you do your inviting, at your desk or on your phone or wherever you do your business time and your business hours, and to approach it in a way that can maybe help you connect the dots and flow better. So I'm going to go through the 4-step process, and I'm going to follow along my notes so that I stay on task. But I really believe this is going to help all of us. I know just me learning it and going through the whole system was like, wow, this is so helpful to just see it on paper and go through it. So I want to address one of the things, especially for newer coaches, that gets people kind of stuck and scared and kind of fearful of reaching out or following up with people that you've maybe already invited, is objections. Usually it's the cost objection. We all have the cost objection that we have to talk through, but there's always some level of objection from the people that you're inviting. So sometimes coaches will say, that their conversations are stuck. So maybe, for example, you're somebody who has started the inviting process, and you've, reached out to a few people or lots of people, and the conversation started bouncing back and forth, and then it comes to that place where it's kind of stuck. So maybe, for example, you've invited someone to your next challenge group, or to a coach sneak peek, and then that conversation stopped at the invite. You invited them, and then maybe they haven't gotten back to you. A lot of times what that does is put people in a place of fear, like you start to make it about you. Oh my gosh, I hope that I didn't offend them. I hope I wasn't too pushy. I hope that I didn't say the wrong thing. I hope that it was okay to ask. Whatever it is that goes through your mind, we've all been there, and we all go through that still. Even if you've invited and gotten comfortable with the invitation process, it's still something that you have to work through. But it's never about you. It's always about them. So you have to approach the situation like you would if you were inviting somebody to a girls' weekend. So if I said, I'm going to have a girls' weekend, I'm putting this together for this summer. I would love to have my closest girlfriends come out to this lake for the summer and for a weekend in the summer. And, I really thought about you, and I thought you'd really love to come. Let me know if that's something you want to do. I think it's going to be super fun. If you put something out there like that, you didn't get a response from the person you invited, your first response wouldn't be to, or shouldn't be to think, oh, maybe she doesn't want to be invited. Maybe I said something that offended her. Maybe she doesn't like lakes. Maybe I should have called her instead of text her. Or maybe you wouldn't go through all that. You would just follow up with her and say, hey, not sure if you got my message, but I just wanted to know, like, is this something that you're interested in? I'm trying to make plans, and I got to kind of finalize the plans. Let me know if you're interested. If at that point you still don't hear anything, then you can ask this question. And this was a really cool question I got from this training. You can ask the question, is there something that you need to know to make a decision about coming? So let's go back to the inviting for the girls' weekend. If you didn't hear back from the person, you could reach out to them and say, is there something that, you need to know that would help you make a decision? Is there something I didn't share? Do you need to know who's coming? Do you need to know more about what it's going to cost? What are some of the things we're going to do? What is it that you need to know that'll help you make a decision? Either way, let me know so that I can finalize the plans and and move forward. That's a really great way to keep the conversation moving. If you're at that stuck point, which we've all been, where somebody is like, oh my gosh, girl, I need your help so bad. And then you go back and forth with them and you have the conversation and all of a sudden they go ghost, right? They don't respond. And you're like, did I say something? It's very, very normal to at first think, okay, especially if you're any part of this tribe, we're all very, cerebral type of people. Like, well, did I say something? But it's never about you. It's simply a conversation, just like it would be if you told somebody about, Stacy always uses the grill mark steak example. If you told somebody about a movie, it would just be you telling them about something that you're enthusiastic and passionate about. And your response to them is simply about how it has had value, is given value to you, and you want to pass that on. Where I think the invite process becomes scary for people is that you take it to the next level and make the outcome about you. We all do this. We've all done this. But that's where you get stuck and you don't move forward. So in order to not do that, you just have to remember, number one, the people that you're inviting to your challenge groups and to your coach opportunity, these are grown people. So the outcome of what they ultimately decide is really on them. You don't control it, whether you said the perfect words or whether you said something that they took as offensive. Either way, you don't control the outcome of what they decide. So you can unattach yourself from their response, whether they actually do get offended or whether they are flattered that you asked them. It doesn't matter. That's a side note. That's kind of beside the point. So in order to get unstuck in this first way that we've all been stuck, you just need to ask the question, hey girl, whatever it is that you've invited to, coach opportunity, free group, lifestyle group, whatever it is, I don't know if you got my message, but I haven't heard back from you. Just want to see if there's something you need to know that'll help you make your decision. Either way, it's cool. That's a really big thing to let people know. Either way, it's okay, because people need to know that it's not you. You're not pushing them. You're guiding them to make a good decision. And the good decision really is based on what's good for them, not for you. So sometimes we feel, a lot of my coaches have said to me over the years, I don't want to be pushy and I don't want to be salesy. That's something we all go through. We all feel like, oh, I don't want to push this person. The only way to really be pushy is to not make it about them. So when you are trying to hit Success Club, or when you have some other goal, or maybe it's a monetary goal or whatever it is, and you feel like this need to get those points or get that income, commission, whatever it is, you have a decision at that point to make. You have to slow down for 1 minute and remember why you're doing this for you, number one, but why you invited this person. And this is going to lead me into the 4-step invitation process that I talked about in the beginning of the call. You have to remember that this is not about you. Your invitation, when someone invited you, that was about you. That's when it was about you, because that was your time to decide, does this fit my life? Is this for me? Is this something I see as valuable? And do I want to say yes or no to this challenge group or this coach opportunity? That's when it was about you. Now you've seen value, whether you've been in this for 5 days or 5 years, something had you say yes, and something has you still here. Whatever that thing is, that's the value that you see in it. So that's you, when you invite, taking that to the people that you're inviting and relating that to them, but it's about them. So in order to not get stuck, you just have to stop for a second and remember that this is truly, truly about them and not you. So then you can detach yourself from that outcome. When you're able to do that, the conversation can flow freely, because it goes from pressure to passion. Your passion and your enthusiasm for this business and the products that we have and what they've done for your life is what should drive you when you do your invites. It's not about Shakeology has 73 different ingredients and there's superfoods and adaptogens and this and that. Those things are tools that are really going to help people, but that's not what you lead with, because you have to go back to what gave you the incentive personally to say yes to Shakeology, to say yes to a challenge group, to say yes to the coach opportunity, or even to say yes to a free group. So you have to go back to that. So that leads me into the 4-step process. When you hang on one second, I want to make sure I'm staying on track. So I talked about, can you let me know either way, because you want to give them a reason. I'm filling up my group. I have X amount of spots. For example, even though we say, we have X amount of spots, you decide how many people you want to let come into your group every month. I personally like to give my people a lot of attention. So if I'm going to do that, I know I can only have so many people in my group. I'm not going to add 30 new people to a group unless I have a system in place that I still feel like they're being personally cared for. And I currently don't have that. So until I do, I'm only going to have a certain amount of spots per month, because that's what I personally can handle. So whatever that is for you, 5 spots, 10 spots, whatever it is, give people the reason why you need to know. So, hey, can you let me know either way? That way it takes them off the hook. When people get concerned about if you feel like you're being pushy, the only time, again, that you're being pushy is if it's not about you. So you have to do a gut check. Where am I coming from? Am I coming from a place of wanting to hit Success Club, wanting to reach my goals? Or am I coming from a place of, I really see how this is going to add value to this person, and I really think that they would get something out of it. They should be a part of my challenge group. They should be a part of my team. Are you coming from that enthusiastic place? If you are, you have nothing to fear. There's nothing to worry about if you're being pushy. And for example, there was one thing that was shared in this training that I love this line. She said, you're leading with passion because you do believe in the tools. And that brings me to a side note. If you haven't yet fully believed in the tools, then that's kind of the place that you need to work on figuring out what it is that you love about Beachbody. It's going to be different for everybody. You might not you might like Shakeology, but you might not love it. It might be all about the workouts for you. It might be flip-flop. It might be both. Whatever it is for you, that's what your tribe is going to be attracted in some way to as well. So she said, change the verbiage and the mindset, but when you come from that place of passion, that's really where you are going to be able to let yourself off the hook and not worry about, am I being pushy? Now, so this is a line. Sorry. It's, hold on. I wrote a lot of notes, so I want to make sure that I give you the line. Give me 1 second. She said, well, that's not the line, but she says, when in doubt, be honest. So if you do feel like you're being pushy and you're not sure and the conversation starts to get weird, be transparent with them. So you can open up and say, hey, I really hope I'm not sounding pushy because I don't mean to. I'm just really excited, or I'm really passionate about this, and I really see that it could add value to your life, but I'm going to keep asking until you say no. That's the line I was looking for. I'm going to keep asking until you say no. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to push you into something. That's not what I'm trying to do. I really believe you will benefit from this. And I am going to keep asking until or unless you say no. That's a really, really good line to use, because you don't want to give up on people. Sometimes it's just not the right time for them. Sometimes it's almost the right time, but they need some more time. And if you just get all in your feelings and get all in your head and you don't follow up with them the next time you open up your challenge group, then you've lost that opportunity to help change their life. And you've also lost the opportunity to get their business as well. Okay, so I want to get to the four-step mindsets to inviting. So why did you think of this person? There's 4 questions. I'm going to tell you to write them down, and then I'm going to break them down. The first thing is, when you're inviting, ask yourself, why did I think of this person to begin with? What made me think of them that I thought they would benefit from the coach opportunity or the challenge group? Why did I think of them? Second thing is, what about the opportunity, the challenge group or the coach opportunity, is specifically in it for them? What is it about the opportunity that's specifically in it for them? And again, I'm going to break this down. Okay, so then the third thing is, what do you love about the business that relates to them? So what is something you love that also relates to something that you believe they would love, or that you know they would love? And the fourth thing is, what are some objections that you think they may have that you can address before they object? What are some things you can talk about with them and put a positive spin on, so they understand that those objections are actually not an issue? What are those things? So there's 4 things. What about the opportunity? Why did you think of this person? What about the opportunity is specifically for them? What do you love about it that relates to them? And what objections might they have that you can address? Okay, so let me break it down. An example of somebody that I would invite to a challenge group. Let's say I invite Stacy to my challenge group. Why did I think of Stacy? Okay, I'm going to use this example that I wrote down just to make it easier, but I'll use Stacy's name. So Stacy, you crushed it in my last challenge group. I can't believe you were able to stay connected while you and John went on vacation in the Outer Banks. It really shows dedication to your fitness, and clearly you love, fitness. Clearly you love the idea of being fit and staying connected to your goals. That's the why did I think of her. What is specifically in it for Stacy? I'd love for you to consider doing what I do as a coach, because I know that as a hairstylist who just got out of hair school, let's pretend she did, you could use some extra income to pay down some of those bills that you accrued paying for hair school. And I know that you want to stay committed to your goals. So she could use the extra money, and she wants to stay committed to her goals. Coaching provides both of those things. Okay, so that's specific to her. What do I love that relates to her? Stacy, you know what I love about this? It's the same thing what you would love about this is the same thing that I love. I've met so many of my best friends in this business, and I've met people that I would have never met who are really like-minded, and I found people who care about my life, and I've been able to open up to them and really lean on them. And I know that's something that you would really love too. We've talked about how hard it is to be, a mom and a working mom, and you don't really get that opportunity to connect with people on a regular basis. And, coworkers aren't always the people that you really vibe with. And so I think that you would really love a team environment like we have. That's something that you love that relates specifically to her. And then objections. What are some things that she might object to? And you know what the really cool thing is? You don't have to be a personal trainer. You don't have to have a background in fitness. You don't really have to know anything about meal planning or really anything about clean eating. And the cool thing is you can do this part-time. Even though you work full-time, you can do this part-time. So you don't have to be a full-time coach like I am. You can do it as a part-time gig. So that's something that she might be like, well, I already work full-time. How am I supposed to build a business? So you have to obviously be paying attention to the people that you wouldn't be inviting them if you didn't have a connection with them to begin with. So that's the first thing. I hope you're not inviting people that you don't have a connection with. However, you do need to know something about them, whether it's the coach opportunity or the challenge group, so that you can show them the value. Because really all it comes down to when it comes to objections, when it comes to people's fears, it's really about the value. How is this valuable to them? What's in it for them? How is this going to help them? If I say to Stacy, oh my gosh, like I always wanted to find an opportunity to help people with health and fitness. I have a fitness background. I have a degree in health science. Like that's my real story. I am a personal trainer. I do have a background in fitness. I have a degree in health science. And I always wanted to find a way to help other people. Well, that's not something that is going to probably relate to her. But the friendship thing is going to relate to her. The tribe thing is going to relate to her. The income thing is going to relate to her. If I say to her, I really love putting Michael in summer camp, but living in Montgomery County, summer camp is like, you need a second job for that. Well, now I have it. Now I have the opportunity to pay for summer camp for him and not worry about it because this income from coaching provides that opportunity. Whatever it is that you feel would relate to them. So this 4-step process, you guys, is so money. Like, I'm so mad that I didn't know about this before, because even though I've done some of these things, it was never really kind of put down on paper. And I think really thinking about this and following it, and every time you're reaching out to somebody, stopping for those couple minutes and saying, why am I reaching out to this person? What is in this for them? What do I love about it that relates to them? And what might they be worried about that I can address so they don't need to worry about it? That is huge. So it's kind of like connecting the dots. If you're a new coach, for example, there was an example shared on this training about a new coach, and this is perfect because Michelle Perkins came into the business like this. What if you're a new coach, you're getting used to the programs and the products, and you don't really have that connection to the programs and the products yet? Or you're starting to run your first challenge group, but you don't really know the people that well yet. You haven't really built that connection. You can have a testimonial within 5 days. You can drink Shakeology for a week and you have a testimonial. There is a difference between you and day 1 on Shakeology and day 6 on Shakeology. There's a difference. And you share what that difference is. You share how that's added value. I think one of the things that I know personally I struggled with for a really long time as a coach is I'm a very deep person. I'm a very connected person. I can be in a bar with somebody, and not that I go to bars, but I could be in a bar with somebody and literally they're telling me their life story within 5 minutes because I have compassion. I have empathy. People just feel comfortable with me. I'm just that way. So I think one of the hangups for me mentally was that I have to, if I'm going to share a story or a testimonial or share something of value, it's got to be this big life-changing thing. And it doesn't. Although I do have a lot of very life-changing things that have happened to me because of this business, it doesn't have to really be about that. It just has to be something that you find value with. So some of the examples that were shared on the training were the girl who had asked the question. She's like, I'm a new coach. I just started a challenge group. I don't really have experience with the programs or the products yet. How am I going to add value? Well, she was on this training. She was on a free training, a free live Zoom call with top coaches of the company that have been coaches for 10 years. Beachbody's only almost 11 years old, so they're like 2 of the first 40 coaches. She was able to find some workouts that she likes. She tried a shake that she actually enjoyed the taste of. It doesn't have to be life-changing and life-altering. It just has to be something that you think is cool. You think like, hey, you know what? I met some cool people in this group. I think that I'm going to really vibe with this team. I think I really want to stick with this. It doesn't have to be a big deal. So that was big for me because somebody like me who's very mental, I get stuck with, if I hear something that was very compelling, like when I first became a coach, I heard Lindsay Matway's story. Well, that's a really hard story to follow after that. I mean, she was homeless. She was $400,000 in debt. her daughter had a brain bleed. She was a bartender and got pregnant 3 months. I mean, that's a lot, but that's what I heard. And so my mind got mentally stuck where, oh, it has to be this big deal or else it doesn't matter. That's very not true at all. It's just what matters to you. So really kind of piecing that out and breaking it down is going to help you when you go to invite, so that you know what to say to people and you know how to just have conversations and just talk instead of making it this big thing. I want to make sure I said everything. So the 4 things, let me ask if you guys have any questions before I say the last thing, and then I'll open it up for comments or whatever. Hold on. Unmute everything. Okay. Anybody have anything to say? Okay, so I'll just keep going then. When you are talking to people about anything Beachbody related, your challenge groups, Shakeology, whatever it is, we are not defending the cost of what we offer. We're not defending the cost. We're not justifying why Shakeology costs $130. We're not justifying why we're not justifying why, you know, how this compares. There's Advocare and there's Herbalife and there's whatever stuff, Prove It or whatever. I don't know. There's all these different things out there. This is not a competition between the two. Yes, those are competitors on the market, but as a coach, that's Beachbody's job to make sure their product is stellar and goes above those other products. That's Beachbody's product development job and position. Our position is not defending those things and defending why they cost what they cost. Our job is to share the value. So when you see value in something, you're going to pay for it and you're going to find the money for it. It doesn't matter if you have the money or not, you are going to find it. So this isn't about pressuring people into finding something that they don't see value in. This is about you making sure you share the value with them and making the value so much louder than the cost. Because an example is like if you've ever bought anything designer, whether it's low-end designer or high-end designer, it doesn't matter. People buy Louis Vuitton bags. People buy, you know, Christian whatever the hell, red bottom shoes, okay? People buy all kinds of stuff. And the reality is it's probably not that much better made than regular stuff. Some is, I'm sure, handcrafted, all that, that's fine. But it's really about the value that you perceive. Like, okay, maybe you want it because it makes you feel more important. Maybe you want it because you just grew up in a really poor home and you could never afford stuff like that and you just want to buy it just because you can and you proved it to yourself that you could. Whatever that is, that's the value to you. Whereas somebody else, I mean, I know very wealthy people who could give a rip about name brands and designer things. And they have more money than all of us combined on this call. However, it's your job as a coach to share the value of whatever it is that drew you to this opportunity. So that's going to be different for everybody. The value for me, and that's where your story comes in, because what drew me in may not be the same exact thing that drew you in, but that's where you're going to find the people who need the things that you needed and who are currently looking for the things that you're working on and going to get. So the value is really what you have to focus on. And by doing that, you have to ask yourself, okay, what drew me in? What am I getting out of it now? What brought me to the place where maybe I was thinking I don't want to, I might not be able to do this, but I switched over and said yes. All those things are really what you need to write down and be very aware of and share so that it drowns out the cost. We've all had the experience where someone online or somebody that we follow or whatever, they just mention something, you're like, I'm getting it. I don't care what it is. For me, I'll give you an example. Chalene Johnson, I love her so much. Pretty much anything she says, I'm like, what? $60 for a couple pieces of paper? Shalene thinks it's important. I'm going to get that, because she's so good at sharing her story and sharing things that I need in my life that she has either overcome or found a solution for. She is so much value, so much value, so much value that pretty much anything she says to me is golden. Maybe not everything, but 99% of what she says, I'm like, it's at least, at the very least, worth looking into. That's where you want to get with people, and you can only do that by talking to your people. I can't share tons of value with somebody who's not my tribe, because they're not going to get me. We're not going to like necessarily the same things, and we're not going to value the same things. So just like money, it's only based on the value somebody perceives it as. It's really just paper. But it's like, you decided, yes, it's worth this. We decided, okay, yes, it is. So now we're going to trade this much money or hours for this much money. It's the same thing. It's about the value. So I think it's really important to know that, so then you can really be okay with who you are as a coach. You don't have to be like another leader that you look up to. You don't have to find a way like, oh man, her story is so compelling and I'm just a stay-home mom and my life is boring. I go to the grocery store every day. I don't do anything. There are so many other moms just like you who need exactly whatever it was that compelled you to be a coach or to be a challenger or to try Shakeology or whatever it was that you had to overcome. So I think the biggest lesson in this is looking back at what brought you in, remembering that it's never, when you're inviting, it's never about you. It's always about them, and always leading with enthusiasm and passion so that you can have the outcome you're looking for. You can come into it with the farmer approach, and you can just farm. The farmer farms whether they know when the crop is going to crop up or not. They just farm. They just want to make a better place. And from that, they get harvest. But this is the last thing I was going to say too about that analogy. Sometimes people come into the business and they need the money, right? We've all been in situations where it's like, you know what, I could really pay my bills with this, or I could really, whatever it is. Not everybody's in that situation, but some people are, where it's like, I really need this to work for me. That's okay for you to feel like that. And I think sometimes that stifles people because it starts to make them feel pressure, like, oh my gosh, I have to make this work. So now I need to hit Success Club and I need to have these people sign up and I need them to do it. So then you start to lose your way and start to lose your reason for doing it, because now all of a sudden it's about you. The antidote, is that the right word? The antidote? The solution for that is, instead of putting pressure on it, you don't have to put pressure on it. All it means is it indicates for you that you have to put more seed out there. You're a farmer. You plant a few seeds, you might get a few crops. You plant more seeds, the likelihood to get more crops. All it means is that you need to consistently and continually make more conversations, make more friends, and create more relationships that you're building upon. That's all it means. What it doesn't mean is that you have to place pressure on, oh my gosh, I hope these people sign up. I hope she doesn't think I'm a weirdo. I hope I haven't asked her too many times. Did I already invite her? I don't have anybody left. It's always, you need more people. The answer for pretty much everything is personal development and more people. Always. My coaches aren't doing what I want them to do. Find more coaches. My challengers, nobody's responding in the challenge group. Get more challengers. That's really what it comes down to, is just constantly pumping the well and putting people in the pipeline and building those relationships and detaching. I swear this is going to go on my coaching grave. Detach yourself from people's outcomes. When you can emotionally detach from it, the business becomes fun again, and it doesn't have any pressure, and it's just you adding value to people. Like, you're like a little Santa Claus. You're like a little fairy going around being like, here's some dust. This is great. Like, this life is awesome. Want a part of it? No, that's cool. I'll check on you later. It's literally like the best job ever. But when you put all this pressure on it, it becomes not the best job ever. It becomes, I'm not cut out for this. I don't think I can do this. I don't think this is for me. It is for you. If you have received value in any way from anything this offers, it's for you. Because that means you can share that with somebody else who needs it. And that means you have a foundation to continue building upon to build a business. And it's really about how much you want and what you want out of this business. It's really up to you. So I hope that's helpful. If you guys have questions, I'm going to open up again. Nobody had questions before. But was that helpful for you guys at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Cool.
Yes,
I can't believe I actually said everything I needed to say. Doesn't usually happen with me.
I think you guys need to remember too, what Dimitri is saying is so like, and Raina Odell said this very plain and bluntly, get over it as fast as possible of your fear and just say the darn thing, spit it out of your mouth. Yeah. It's not get over it, because you will not build unless you ask the question. It's like if you were with your significant other, they had to rev up to say, will you marry me, right? They were probably scared out of their minds to say it. But when they finally said, will you marry me? And you said, yes, you're like, oh my God, why did I wait so long, right? I would have said yes months ago, just say it. It, like we always say, it's the steak, it's the nails, and everything in life is a sale, really. Like, hey, where'd you get your hat? Target. All right, you just sold Target. Hey, where'd you do this? A&B Nail Salon. So don't just talk and just relax. And if people say to you too, yeah, I'm going to sign up tomorrow, do not bank on that and just say, okay, I got my Success Club 6, I'm done. Keep going. Keep planning. Like Demetria says, it's not a locked in deal. Keep going, because what if you were to get more people to be inspired by, or they can be inspired by you? So just don't forget things like that. Like, don't lock into people, because that's what she's talking about. You're going to bank on somebody. Don't bank on them. It's their responsibility to say yes. It's their responsibility for results. It's your responsibility to ask. And that takes the pressure off, because the rest is really all on them.
Yeah. And I heard something, I think it was Oprah or Will Smith. They were talking about why successful people stay successful, how somebody becomes an Oprah or a Will Smith or whatever. And it's because they don't live to quotas. They don't say, okay, like for our world Success Club, they don't say, okay, I got to get Success Club 6 or 10 or whatever your goal is. They just say, I got to do it. I just got to keep going. So they don't really count the score. They don't really keep score. They just do the things, and they don't really stop when they reach whatever. It's not that they don't set goals. It's just, those are just kind of indicators, like little barometers. Like, okay, you did something that you set out to do, but that means nothing to them. It's like they just keep going, because potential, constantly living up to your potential, is really what makes success, is really what makes you thrive and feel alive. So that's why it's kind of like, if you go for a goal and then you get it, this is what celebrities go through. Maybe their big thing was to like sing in front of a huge audience or whatever, or just make it big and get a record label or whatever it is. And then they get it, and it's like, hey, you were the hot thing in 2017, but there's like 7 other people coming up. So it can't be about the goal. The goal has to just kind of be a little sweet spot, like, that was so cool, but it's about doing the activity. That's where the joy has to come, because the goal is just temporary. It's just a thing, like a trophy. It's like, you don't look at your trophy every day like, yep, 2008, we won that NFL game. It was awesome. It's like, okay, but that was 2008. It's 2018. Keep it moving. Like, that can't be. So you just have to pump the well and not worry about Success Club 6. Great. How many other people can I help? Let's keep it moving. So that's all I have to say. I really, really respect people's time. It's 9:12. And I have a call at 9:15 also. So if anybody has anything to add it. If not, I'll put up the recording as soon as possible. And I hope that helped.
All good. Thank you.
All right, y'all. I will see you online.
Bye.
Bye.